Welcome to Inspirations, a podcast where we discuss everything relevant to the Christian life. Now here is your host, Jay Spurlock.
Hello everyone. So today I want to read to you from a journal I wrote this summer, and it's one of the exercises that I wrote, and I believe that can bring a lot of blessing to people, and it can help them maybe lighten their load and stop carrying around what is not meant for them to carry around, and I'll explain. So I'm going to read this, and I'll stop occasionally and kind of maybe add some more to it, but just be with me for a second and listen and see where you can relate to this, and see maybe if you're carrying something that was meant to be left at the cross. So I wrote, two of my all-time favorite worship songs involves the cross. The two songs I'm referring to are Lay It All Down by United Pursuit and Leave It All by Iron Bell Music. I highly recommend you check out both songs. I want you to focus on what both songs say, lay and leave. Often Christians will lay it all at the feet of Jesus, but soon return to just pick back up what isn't ours to carry and repeat it again and again. Both songs bring me to my knees and frankly to tears because they remind me of the price that was paid by Jesus on my behalf. And yes, before you make fun of me, grown men do cry. After all, John 11:35 says, Jesus wept. So, if you got anything to say, there you go. I continue and say, in the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus says to his disciples, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. Chapter 16, verse 24 through 25. We humans often carry so much baggage around that we are burdened by it. Both of the songs, as mentioned earlier, helped reveal the guilt and shame I carried each day that was not meant for me to carry, but was meant instead to be left at the cross. Now, years later, I can see that, and I did not want to burden God with all my baggage. It's also appropriate to say my pride was too vital for me to admit that the load I was carrying was way too heavy. Jesus says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew 11:28 through 30. So pride, I state in the journal, pride, to me, pride comes in two ways for me, and it may for you as well, but I'll list the two ways. It says, the first way, we carry all of our burdens, and often those of others, on our own shoulders, almost like a trophy of pride to show off just how strong we are and that we can do life on our own. The second way is, we carry all of our burdens, and often those of others, but instead of showing them off to others, we conceal them, pledge to never let them surface or be brought to light. Although Ephesians 5, verse 12 through 14 states, it is shameful even to mention what the disobedient do in secret. But everything exposed by the light becomes visible, and everything that is illuminated becomes a light. This is why it is said, wake up, sleeper. Rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. In result, often we are a mess on the inside, but we put on the infamous I am fine mask so that no one notices or worries about us. I can say I have experienced both methods pride uses to keep us burdened and weary. If you can relate, please don't be discouraged, for this is what the enemy wants. But know that you are understood and loved by a Savior that is victorious over all. His name is Jesus. Pride may be keeping you in the habit of showing off to others just how strong you are. Likewise, pride may be keeping you from revealing those heavy burdens you carry and no one is aware of. Or, if we can be real, pride may be doubling up your load. If so, it's okay. Pride does the same to many others, myself included. When you carry around things that were meant to be left at the cross, you are ultimately saying, "Thanks for your sacrifice, Jesus, but I got this." We may not say it that way, but with all truthfulness, that is what we mean. You may think your darkest secrets and burdens are concealed from everyone on this earth. Depending on your ability to hide things, which is not really something to be boastful about or to brag about, like most of the culture believes, they very well may be. But the truth is, our Father in heaven knows all about them. Just ask David or read Psalm 139, since he may be out of town. That was a joke. But no, read that. That is one of the most powerful. It's actually David just being honest and real, and he becomes aware of how God knows everything he's going to do, and it's just, when you think about it that way, it's not in a creepy way or manner, but just knowing that God knows everything inside of us, and he knows all about our feelings and knows about our heart, and we can put on this mask to this world, but when we come to the realization that it doesn't matter what you show off to this world, but if you're living for Jesus, then you have to be honest and know that he knows the real motives and how you truly feel. So, when you realize God doesn't want you burdened by the guilt and shame of your past, you understand it isn't a trap, but instead a gateway to ultimate freedom. In the same manner, God is not impressed by how much weight you can carry. After all, his son Jesus carried the heavy weight of all humanity to the cross and paid the price that none of us could pay. And if there ever was something to boast about, that would be it. But the fact that Jesus was perfect and yet paid the price for the sins of those who call him their Savior is hard to comprehend. Once we grasp how unworthy we are of his grace, we are more willing to not use it as a license to just do what we want, but instead as a gift it is to live life in the fullness of his ways. As for myself, I now can see that I was carrying something that was stolen, and it did not belong to me. It belonged to Jesus because he paid for it all on the cross, and he was glad to carry what I could no longer carry on my own. Bottom line, Jesus was always willing to carry it for me, but I was too prideful to let go and let him. Be honest with yourself. Ask Jesus if you are carrying something that belongs to him. After all, his yoke is easy and his burden is light, and he lifts our load. Remember, the love of Jesus is perfect. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 5. Start walking in the freedom that was purchased by Jesus at the cross. If you are carrying anything that is not yours, I encourage you to take it to the cross, lay it at his feet, and leave it with him for good. So, with that said, if you're listening, I'll read some of the directions I left, but I just want you to think about that, and this is something you can do in some quiet time, and just ask God to reveal something that maybe you are carrying that you don't know that you're carrying, but ultimately what it's doing is it's making your load a lot heavier, and it's weighing you down, and it's not allowing you to walk in the freedom of Jesus, because what he did on the cross purchased that, and He can take it, and it's His. It's not yours to carry around. And there's a lot of freedom on the other side of letting go of that isn't yours to carry. So, as I said in the journal, I said, spend some time in prayer and stillness with the Lord. Ask God for the courage to be open with Him and to help you. I think this is important because in the last part I said, I brought this verse in 1 Corinthians 13:5. It says, the love of Jesus is perfect. A lot of times we compare the love of this world or the love of our loved ones that are broken. We're like, yeah, if I'm real with these people, though, they're going to hold it against me, or they're going to judge me, or whatever that may be. But we have to remember that Jesus' love is perfect, and in His love there's no fear, and it keeps no record of wrongs. It does not dishonor others. It does not seek itself, and it is not easily angered. So keep that in mind. You're not having this with anybody, this conversation or this time of space with anything or anybody else but Jesus, and it's between you and Him, and it's time to get real and get open about the things that are holding you back from living the life that you can live through Him, and what the ways He and purposes He has for you on this earth. Ask God to give you the courage to lay what is His and not yours at the foot of the cross. Ask God for the strength and courage to leave it at the cross, not to come back and pick it up tomorrow or the next day or next week, and the strength to not go back and pick it up. I said again, focus is on both laying and leaving our burdens at the cross. So I hope this exercise brings you some freedom. Pray that you are able to come to the realization that I did a few years ago when I was tired, and I was just burdened by so many things. And often I fight this myself right now. Honestly, I fight it. And I still try to carry so much of the weight of the world on my shoulders. And it's not for me to carry. And I have to remind myself, and I have to do this exercise myself, and ask Jesus to maybe reveal to my stubborn head, what am I carrying that is not mine and that I need to let go of? And it honestly is a work of the Spirit to reveal those things to you. We become so blind to the things that we carry, sometimes we don't even know. And then there are the obvious things that maybe you do know about, and you just keep shoving under the rug to get to. I've been there. I've done that. And eventually you trip up, and then you have to deal with that mess. And you ultimately know that you needed to address this a long time ago. So, if you have any questions, there's a video on YouTube. I'll put in the links of the show notes that also explains it in greater detail. And there's also a PDF with the actual exercise worksheet that you can download and do this on your own. So, thanks, and have a blessed week. And now, the quest to reflect. So for this week's quest to reflect, I want to ask you just some quick questions, a series of questions that build on themselves. But I want you to be honest, and I want you to spend some time in reflection and spend some time with God and allow Him to reveal some things to you that may come up. But what are you carrying around that isn't yours to carry? what do you need to bring to Jesus, or to bring to the cross, or to lay at the altar? What do you need to give to him that isn't yours to carry around? Or is there something that maybe you did give to Jesus a long time ago, and you keep, if you're honest with yourself, you keep returning to pick it back up? And you're tired of carrying it around. So just ask yourself those things, and ask God. That's the main important thing, is to be honest and real with him, kind of like David was, to just lay it all out there. And it could get messy and it could get ugly for a little bit. But that's between you and him. And just know that he loves you, and that what he did on the cross was that to free you of these things and to lighten your load, so that you can live in the freedom that he has bought and purchased on the cross. Thanks. Now, one thing to check out. For this episode's one thing to check out, I want to encourage you to go check out the band United Pursuit, or Will Reagan. And I want to just encourage you, because their music has made such an impact on my walk in faith, and I really have had some times in worship with them, and just with their music. I remember riding in a car of some dark times, and just really their music speaking to me, and giving me the courage to come face to face with the things that were in my heart and the things that I was battling, and really on the other side of that brought me some freedom. And I really think you'll enjoy their music, so go check them out. United Pursuit. Thank you for listening to the Inspirations Podcast. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to check in again every other Monday for a new episode and new content. Thanks.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.